This is the 2024 GMC Sierra 1500 SLT. Is it the best bang for the buck trim level? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. Today I borrowed this model from my friends at Morgan Buick GMC in Shreveport, Louisiana. If you want to know more, check out the link down in the description of the video. And you're going to see right here, as we begin talking about what this truck has, that it's a Texas edition. That's going to add a lot of features that you're going to see throughout the tour in today's video that are going to make this truck really have a lot going on at a lower price. That's always a good thing. And I realize in this day and age, there's very little that has a great price necessarily. It's just an unfortunate part of the way things are at the moment. Hopefully that's going to change in the near future. I don't know how long that will take, but hopefully it will. So let's talk about what we have. Now you'll have your LED daytime running lights. You can see that you have your fog lights down there on the lower portion of the bumper, your recovery hooks or tow hooks as some people call them. Either one is correct. No matter what the correction Nazis say in the comments section, it's okay. Something that might be a little bit of a surprise here is the fact that you have not only a front camera, but a front camera washer. That means you're going to have a lot of cameras all over the truck in a multitude of areas that make it very easy to see what's going on. Now, this particular truck is two-wheel drive. That's one thing that's going to keep the cost down. And we have a lot of lighting on and around the truck that you can turn on and off. Lighting here in the mirror. We'll also have the in-bed LED lighting. And you can't really see that it's on right now, but you also have the cab light up there. And to help out after dark, provide a little more light for backing up to a trailer, maybe other things you need to see behind you as well. There is the light right there. And when it comes to your side view mirrors, they are power adjustable and they are also power folding. I just pushed that button right there and you can see that those mirrors are folding in. There's actually a setting in the infotainment screen if you want to set it to where when you lock the truck, those mirrors automatically fold in, and then when you unlock it, they're going to automatically fold back out. And you'll have the chrome door handles, passive entry only here on the front doors. I would really like to see that at all four doors, but that's just the way it is. And if you're wondering what exactly passive entry is, when you push that button and you have the remote in your possession, this remote right here, all four doors you can unlock or lock all four doors at the same time. There is your remote, and you can see lock, unlock. You can open the tailgate right there. You also have your remote start, and if you need it, there's your panic button. In this particular case, we're going to have the 5.3 liter V8 under the hood. It's naturally aspirated, so for those of you who are anti-turbocharger, here's a great option for you. 355 horsepower and 383 pounds-feet of torque, mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission. And if I don't say it, somebody is going to ask about it, so let me go ahead and show you and tell you about the MPGs. We're looking at, let me get some of this out of the way here, clean that up a little bit, 16 city, 20 highway, 18 combined, and 5.6 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. Speaking of gas, if you're curious, you do have capless fuel fill. The gas tank size is 24 gallons. And let's talk about usability. 9,000 to 9,400 pounds as far as your towing capacity goes. And payload comes in at 2,240 pounds. You will find the bumper steps right here that make it very easy to get in and out of the bed. Nice and deep, plenty of room for that sure-footedness right there. That's very helpful. And by the way, something I didn't talk about on this model, you have the affixed side steps, the assist steps, if you want to call them that. They're not power, but not really a big deal. One advantage to that, depending on how high off the ground the vehicle is next to you, if you park in a parking lot somewhere, when they open their doors, it reduces the opportunity of door dings unless the vehicle sits as high as yours or a little bit higher than those steps. Now, I showed you the corner steps right here, but that's not the only benefit here as far as, or should I call it, useful feature to make it easier to get in and out of the bed. So we have our multi-pro tailgate right here, and yeah, I do like to show this feature because, well, there's people who haven't seen it before. You can open it as a traditional tailgate. You can also open it and use this area as a table if you wanted to. You could also use that to allow something that is too long to fit in the bed without opening the tailgate. You don't have to open it all the way, but you can open this area and have that stick out a little bit. You can also use this area as a bed extender, one of the different options there. But one of the things that I really like is the fact that we can go right here and open the tailgate just like this, and then open this area up, and that makes it easier to reach into the bed right here a little bit deeper into the interior of the bed, and just make it simple without having to go all the way in, jump in, whatever, to reach something that you may need to get out. And there is your second step. I told you had more than that bumper step right there to take advantage of, so there's your second step. There is also going to be a grab handle right there. On the 1500s, personally, I feel like the grab handle isn't necessary, but I guess that just depends on who you are and what you like. Might make it easier for some people. On the 2500s and 3500s, they're higher off the ground, so I do think that the grab handle right there is a little bit more useful. And one more thing about gaining access to the bed, you will notice the length of the steps right here, the assist step. You can also hop up here on the side and reach into the front of the bed. So very simplistic access as far as that goes. And by the way, one more thing about having this tailgate to use as a bed extender. This area right here, again, the step, that's your second option if you need to open the tailgate, maybe have something butt up against that. A lot of advantages where that is concerned. You do have your spray-in bed liner here, which is very useful. You'll also find the power outlet right here, and there are a total of 12 tie downs on the front and the rear of the bed area, but you also have some additional tie downs here in the center area on both sides. That gives us a total of 16 tie down points. Very useful. And a little trick for you, if you have a trailer hitch down here and you're saying to yourself, boy, it sure would be easy to open this portion of the tailgate and then drop the whole tailgate down and forget it's down there. Yes, it would damage your multi-pro tailgate, but there is a simple little trick for this. We're going to hold this button down, and I don't know for sure that you're going to be able to see it because of the sun, but I'd rather have the sun at my back for these videos than in front of us causing glare. Now you'll see that those lights flashed 3 times. Your tail lights will flash 3 times. What does that mean? That means when I hit that button, nothing happens. So there is your advantage if you want to do that. And to turn that back off, it's just the same process. Again, you're going to hold it down, and it takes, I don't remember the exact time, I think it's 8 seconds, it might be 10 seconds, whatever it is. Now, when I hit that button again, there we go, it opens up. A nice little feature to provide some peace of mind. When it comes to the interior, we definitely have a lot of space, plenty of room with the armrest, and I really like the fact that this entire area is flat. Nothing unusual with trucks, but with some vehicles, some SUVs, and some cars, this front area is actually inclined just a little bit. That just really kind of defeats the purpose because it seems a little uncomfortable, at least to me, to have your arm up there. But being flat like that, I think that's a good thing. Very large door bins, that's always going to be helpful, and you have plenty of room underneath the seats for storage. All the tools to change your tire are going to be on both sides. Obviously, both sides do come up like this. Let's see if I can get that back down. And one of my favorite features in the back seat of these trucks when it's equipped is the fact that you have your in-seat storage right here. You can put a lot of things in there. Very good use and wise use, I would say, from GMC on taking advantage of that storage and its ability to be used that way. You have your rear window defogger. The window right here in the center is a power sliding rear window, and there is a lot of space right here in the back seat area. Plenty of leg room, plenty of headroom, and even though you have a little bit of height with the transmission tunnel, it's not as high as some of the older vehicles were. We were stuck sitting here in the middle seat. If anybody is, well, that makes it a little bit more comfortable for them. Fold down armrest with the cup holders built in, and we'll also find heated seats on the outboard seats here. That's what these 2 controls are for. You see your USB options right there, as well as a couple of air conditioning vents and even more cup holders. Nobody can go thirsty here because you could have drinks for days. That's for sure. Unless you live here in Northwest Louisiana, then it might be drinks for an hour or two because it is hot. No sunroof in this particular case, but that is an available option if it's something you want. And in case you were that patient person, or maybe you just got lucky and you skipped around in the video as opposed to watching from start to finish, here's the sticker price, $62,800, and you might be surprised at what you get for that price. I know it's not exactly a low price, but in this day and age, it's not bad. Nice large door bins. You've got your Bose premium audio system here as well. That's part of, not the door bin, but the Bose premium audio system, part of that Texas edition package. And you already saw your controls right here for your side view mirrors, folding and unfolding, and your power windows. One thing that I think, even at the price point of this truck being where it is, that it's, I think, reasonably priced right now, seat memory. You should also have it on the passenger side if you have it on the driver's side. Just my personal opinion. Power adjustable seats for the driver and the passenger. You do have lumbar support. That's going to be controlled right here. So that's nice to know. You'll also find that these seats are heated, which we don't need until November, probably, maybe even December of this year. The ventilated seats, yes, definitely. You'll control your drive modes, change out of those modes right there. Power parking brake is here in case you need that. You'll control your lights here, fog lights, and your lighting up here for the cab and all of the other lighting on the truck that I showed you earlier. If your auto high beams are not working or you want to turn them off, there's the button for that. And something that's interesting here that might be a surprise, maybe not. At the price point of this truck, you would expect to find a adjustable steering wheel, tilt and telescopically adjustable, but maybe not power adjustable. Well, that's what we have where this truck is concerned. So we'll go ahead and hop on inside and we'll take a quick look at everything. Turn the engine on. Obviously, that's easy to do right here with the button. And yes, I do have the seats on, ventilated seats turned on high. It is warm already. We're going to be around 100 degrees today in Northwest Louisiana before the day is over with. I should be inside before that. And here is the digital instrument cluster. Now, for those of you who might say, I don't really like the way that looks, you can change that. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you how I do this. I'm going to arrow over. That brings me to this screen, that center screen right there. And I will use the scroll wheel to either select, and I'm going to go down here. Let's go to digital, and we'll just change that. And I can also use this button to go back, and then we can go to the left side. We can customize that. Right side, lower gauges, info page, options. You can see what all is here. Easy to deal with. If you want to reset to defaults, you can. That's how you do that. So you also have your shifter paddles here on the back of the steering wheel, along with your volume controls on the back. That's going to be these buttons right here. And then on the opposite side, you can change what you're listening to on the radio or whatever else you're using, depending on what you're doing. I use Apple CarPlay and listen to my playlists on YouTube. And so that top button will go forward, the bottom button will go back. Steering wheel mounted controls, you do have your adaptive cruise control here if you want to use that. Voice commands, all that good stuff is here. A little bit of space above the center console as far as storage goes, or excuse me, not the center console, the 13.4-inch touchscreen. I'm thinking storage a little bit too early, but it is a 13.4-inch touchscreen right here. Wireless capabilities for your cell phone. You have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto right here. There's your great app because nothing is currently connected. Google Maps and Google Assistant, by the way. I'm not going to demonstrate that because I hate to set off devices in your houses. But if I know enough trolls are watching, I might do it for fun just because, well, it would be fun. But we won't do that today. Now, let's go over here and see what else we have. Trailering, that might be useful to you. You have a truck, you're likely going to be pulling a trailer at some point or another. You can add new trailer, use guest trailer, use accessory or no trailer. There's a lot of things there. I'm not going to go through that too much because it's so simple. Anybody can figure that out. You really don't need that. And you have a lot of great features here that you can go in. The hunt and peck method, as I like to call it, depending on what you want to do and what you want to change, you can use all of that right there. Now let's go into settings real quick. And I'll show you some things here. Connections, vehicle, apps and permissions, date and time, sounds, all of that. You can see what's here, but I want to focus on vehicle. Let that come up. You have teen driver mode, rear seat reminder, buckle to drive. You can turn that on or off. I do recommend using your seatbelt when you drive. But if you're just driving around in the parking lot or wherever you are and you're not on the road and you don't need your seatbelt, well, it's kind of annoying to have to turn that on or put your seatbelt on when you don't really need it. How about your safety features? I haven't talked about that yet. So you can go in and make some changes here, but you see that you have your alert type, automatic emergency braking, front pedestrian braking, adaptive cruise go notifier, lane change alert, park assist tow bar, your rear cross traffic braking, and rear pedestrian alert. And I think I mentioned it earlier in the video, but you do have your blind spot monitoring built into those side view mirrors as well. Now, one more thing I do want to show. I mentioned the fact that, well, actually two things. Let's go back here real fast, just because I did mention this earlier, and you probably want to see about the mirror folding. So remote mirror folding, if you want that on, here's how you turn it on. I talked about how you can set it up to where when you lock the truck, the mirrors automatically fold in. Well, there's how you do that. I said it earlier, so I might as well show it to you. Now, your cameras. Let's see if I can do that correctly. There we go. There are cameras everywhere on this truck. So you have your overhead 360-degree view. That just makes things so easy to deal with as far as seeing what's around you. Now, this is the front camera view that we have on the right-hand side. When you push this button right here and you run the windshield washer fluid, this also happens. The front camera washer, I showed you that earlier. That's how it works in action. Now, you don't have to have that on the screen for it to work. And we have multiple views here. If you wonder which cameras have multiple views, notice the two dots. You have the orange and the gray dot right there. That's how you know. So we'll go and look at a couple more overhead views. Your side view camera mirrors right there. There's a lot going on here. You have all sorts of views all over the truck. And we have dual zone climate control. Here's where you're going to turn on your ventilated seats. And I'm not going to leave that on for long, but there's your heated seats as well. I'm turning that back on because it needs to be on. You can sync both sides together, or they can be set individually. You have some USB options right here and a little bit of storage up here. Very different setup here with this center console, the shifter, everything here. Part of what you get with this truck with the Texas Edition package. And if you're wondering about the wireless charging pad, there it is right there. So if you haven't looked at one of these trucks in the last couple of years, you're likely wondering why it wasn't in this area. Well, that's because it's been moved. And you'll find the removable tray right there. We'll just remove that. More connectivity options right here. So you have quite a bit going on with that. A couple of USB options and plenty of space within the center console. Let's take a look at the upper console. Give you a quick look at what's there in case you're wondering. Now, one thing this truck does not have, in case you're curious, is the rear view camera mirror. So you'll just have to tough it out and do things the old school way. All right, let's get out on the road for our test drive, and we'll drive over the railroad tracks and we'll listen. Yeah, you got a little bit of noise there. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes not. It just depends on what I'm driving in these videos. Well, you heard it. I don't know how well it was picked up by my microphone, but I can tell you that was a little noisy. Now, the ride quality was not terrible, but it's a truck, and these trucks are a little lighter than they used to be, maybe a good bit lighter than they used to be in years gone by. So that does affect the ride quality. So just something to think about, but most people buying trucks, I don't think they're too worried about it. And by the way, one thing I did not mention earlier in the video, I showed you where you control your driving modes, but I didn't tell you what the driving modes are. So again, for you who are patient enough to make it to this point in the video, here's that information. You have normal, sport, and snow and ice. With a rear-wheel drive truck, I don't know that I would suggest driving on snow and ice unless you have a lot of weight in the bed and maybe some snow tires on back there. I actually made it in Colorado for a couple of years, going to school up there many years ago with a two-wheel drive truck, rear-wheel drive obviously, and that's how I did it. So it can be done, but I would recommend four-wheel drive if you're going to deal with that quite a bit. One of the biggest advantages to these trucks is the interior size. I talked about how much space you have in the back seat area for your passengers back there. What about the front seat? Well, if you have plenty of room back there, you better have plenty of room here in the front, and you do. There's definitely plenty of room for the driver and the passenger. The seats, both power adjustable, both heated and ventilated, or cooled, maybe some people like to say that. But both are very well adjustable and very easy to deal with. Always a good thing. So everybody can be very, very comfortable depending on their situation, their height. Somebody over 6 feet tall, no problems. And as far as a truck driving under the speed limit, which this F-250 is doing that, no problem getting into the pedal about quarter throttle to go around him as I just did. I think he was doing about 45 miles an hour in a 60. So we got around him easily. Plenty of acceleration with the 5.3 liter. So if you're wondering about that, well, there's your answer. And I didn't really push it all that hard, especially being a brand new truck. Didn't want to push the RPMs up too high, but not a big deal either way. Everything easy to deal with, easy to learn. That's one thing that is so nice about these GMC trucks. The technology looks great. It's modern. It has a lot of advantages. It's also very easy to learn and use. So don't let that scare you off. And don't forget, I know I say this in a lot of videos if you watch me regularly, but you do have the ability to come right here on YouTube and watch tutorials and learn everything you need to learn about these trucks. And the good thing about that, you can watch those as many times as you need to. So there's a lot of advantages where that's concerned. A truck that drives well, maybe we're not going to say a butter smooth ride, but it's a truck. That's just the way it is. Heard the railroad tracks right there. That's just part of it. Put some weight in the bed, shouldn't be too bad. So I do like the fact that the gas pedal is very easy to manage, and the fact that the brake pedal is also very easy to manage. So you're not brake checking yourself or brake checking your passengers. Depending on what you step out of, that could maybe vary a little bit, but as far as the gas pedal goes, that's a good thing. Easy to deal with, especially when you don't have a turbocharged engine. You don't have to deal with any kind of turbo lag or anything like that. Definitely a lot of advantages here to these trucks, but I'm curious to know, what would you like to see in the future? I don't have any idea when it's going to happen, but what would you like to see when these trucks are fully redesigned that maybe isn't here right now? So tell me what you think about this 2024 GMC Sierra 1500 SLT. Is it the best bang for the buck trim level? Just a little bit over $60,000. And while that's not cheap by any means in this day and age, it's not the worst price, that's for sure. So tell me what your thoughts are. I do want to say a special thanks to my friends at Morgan Buick GMC for loaning me this truck for the day, and a special thanks to each and every one of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button. I really appreciate that. That helps me out a lot. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I'll see you there.